Senator Lindsey Graham has been known to work with President Obama on some issues, but this week he laid down a clear marker: give Congress access to the survivors of the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, or he will block all the president's future nominees. Senator Graham joins us now. Welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you.
You have been trying for more than a year to talk with the Benghazi survivors.
Yes, sir.
How many have you talked with?
None. A year later, only one survivor in Benghazi has been interviewed by the Congress, and that person was subpoenaed. Why do I want to talk to them? I want to know from their mouth, not anybody else, no spokesman, no British contractor, Americans on the ground in Benghazi. Did you see a protest? Did you ever report a protest? Did you complain before the attack that al-Qaeda was growing in strength in Libya? Did you make security requests? Did anybody try to help you enhance security?
Okay, so when you and other senators, because you're not alone in this, asked to talk to the survivors or to read the interviews that the FBI conducted with them within hours after the attack,
2 days after, yes.
What does the administration say to you?
They say that it's an ongoing criminal investigation, which is stunning. Under that theory, we would not be able to look at 9/11 until Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was prosecuted. He's still not even going to trial. I'm not trying to solve a crime. I'm trying to find out from the mouths of the people who are on the ground, did you ever report to Washington or anyone that there was a protest? Because how could the president, Jay Carney, Susan Rice, and all of them claim that this was a protest created by a video if nobody on the ground who lived through the attack ever said there was a protest? So 2 days after the attack, did the survivors say to the FBI there was a protest? If they did not, how did this story of a protest start?
All right. So now, because you have not gotten satisfaction, you've not gotten the interviews, the transcripts of the interviews, or to talk to them, you are now threatening to block every new presidential nominee, which is a member of the Senate. You can put a, quote, hold on them until you get access to these folks. Is that over the top?
I don't think it's over the top to find out what happened to 4 dead Americans. I don't think it's over the top for the Congress to be able to challenge the narrative of any administration when an ambassador is killed. I don't think it's over the top for us to be able to talk to the survivors. They were talked to by the Accountability Review Board. The State Department picked a team to look into what happened at Benghazi. They interviewed these survivors to tell us, as a member of Congress who has to explain to the families, are they being straight and honest with you from the Obama administration? It's not too over the top. I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to make these kind of threats. They should provide in a responsible way those who lived through Benghazi to be interviewed separate and apart from the Obama administration to find out exactly what happened before, during, and after. And I am so sad to say to the families, this is the anniversary of the election. A year later, the Congress really doesn't know anything about what happened in Benghazi from those who lived through it.
All right, but we are talking about someone like Jay Johnson, who is the president's nominee to be the new Secretary of Homeland Security. Or, as you can see, Janet Yellen, the new chair of the Federal Reserve. Big jobs. Question: how long are you prepared to hold up their nominations and everyone else's, people who are going to be doing and need to do important work for the country?
The only way this will work is if my Republican colleagues get behind me and say to my Democratic friends in the Senate and the administration, we support Lindsey's request to be able to talk to the survivors independent of the administration, to look at the evidence, to find out exactly what happened in Benghazi before, during, and after. How did the Secretary of Defense know about a cable coming out of Benghazi in August from our ambassador to Washington State Department saying we can't defend this place against a coordinated al-Qaeda attack, and al-Qaeda flags are flying everywhere? How could the Secretary of Defense know that, not Secretary of State? So here's the way this will work. I'm hoping that they will relent and allow us to interview the survivors, appropriate congressional committees.
If they don't?
Well, then I will ask my Republican colleagues and Democratic colleagues, stand up to the Obama administration. Don't let them get away with this. Can you imagine if this was George W. Bush and he told the Congress after 9/11, you can't talk to anybody because there's a potential criminal investigation. We're not going to investigate how 9/11 became the failure that it was.
Okay, 60 Minutes ran a story last Sunday in which they talked to the British supervisor of local Libyan security around the consulate before the attack. Here's a clip of that story.
Because I was saying these guys are no good, you need to get them out of here.
You also kept saying if this place is attacked, these guys are not going to stand and fight.
Yeah, I used to say it all the time. Yeah. In the end, I got quite bored of hearing my own voice saying it.
But the Obama administration is now going after that guy, saying that his report right after the attack to his employer, he was a private security contractor, directly contradicts what he told 60 Minutes.
Right. I don't want to hear from any more British people about Benghazi. I want to hear from Americans who were there. But back to this contractor. They claim that an incident report that he apparently did not sign, that he never went back to the compound and never went to the hospital, as he claims in his book, to find Ambassador Stevens. But what they're not telling you, that he was interviewed by the FBI the next day and twice 3 or 4 days later. And I want those FBI interviews. Here's what this administration is doing. They're taking part of the file to leak it to try to impeach a critic, and they're withholding information. The FBI interviewed this gentleman in Wales and in Doha, and he claims he told the FBI and the Department of State everything that he told 60 Minutes. So now I want to know if he's lying. I want to know that. But give to me and the Congress the full information he provided to our government. I want the FBI interviews.
We got a couple of minutes left. I want to ask you about another question on another matter. You plan to introduce a bill this week that would ban all abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy. But even some other pro-life advocates have backed off this because they worry that it's not constitutional, noting that the Supreme Court protects a woman's right to abortion until a fetus is viable at 24 weeks. You're talking 20 weeks.
Yeah, at 20 weeks you feel pain. At 20 weeks, if they do surgery on a 20-week fetus, they provide anesthesia to the fetus because the fetus can feel pain. We're trying to make the following argument to the Supreme Court. The state, the government, has a legitimate interest to protect the child at the 20-week period of development because they can feel pain. And that's what a rational, humane society should do. Protect a child that can feel pain from an abortion unless there's the life of the mother, rape, or incest involved.
Now, some of your critics in South Carolina say, hey, look, Graham is up for re-election in 2014. He's worried about a Tea Party challenger. And you have ticked off a lot of conservatives with votes on immigration reform to confirm liberal Supreme Court justices. This is your way to get back in their good graces.
I've been a pro-life, a member of Congress since day one. I was the author of the Unborn Victims of Violence Act that we passed several years ago, making it a crime to attack a woman, and if she loses her baby, you can be charged with 2 crimes, not 1. Crime against the mother and the unborn child. My record on being a pro-life senator, member of Congress, is clear. I'm proud to lead this charge. This is a debate worthy of a great democracy. When do you become you at 20 weeks of a pregnancy? What is the proper role of the government in protecting that child?
Senator Graham, thank you. Thanks for coming in today. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, sir.
My pleasure.
Next up, how serious are the problems with Obamacare? Our Sunday panel assesses where we are 1 month into the troubled rollout.
Hmm. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that Old MacDonald was a really bad speller?
Your word is cow.
Cow. Cow. C-O-W-E-I-E-I-O. Dag nabbit.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you. Well, you know.
Are your knives making food prep harder than it should be?
Hey, Ming Tsai with the Aero knife. Light as air, cuts like a razor, and food slides right off. Even with a $50 chef knife, it cuts, but food sticks like a magnet. The Aero knife has holes. 60% less surface area means less friction. It cuts twice as smooth, and food doesn't stick. You want to cut the cheese? With an ordinary knife, you have to push hard, and cheese sticks to the knife. With an Aero knife, no force, strength, or pressure, and the cheese falls right off. The blade is precision cut stainless steel, tough enough to hack up this 2x4, yet sharp enough to half a tomato. For poultry, it's the best. You get a clean, smooth cut each and every time, all the way through. These are boiled potatoes. Watch this. With an ordinary knife, it crushes the potato. It sticks to the blade, it makes a mess. But with the Aero knife, less surface area, almost nothing sticks to the blade. Perfect slices every time. It's even tough enough to cleanly cut this New York strip without sticking. You've got to try to believe it. Slices so thin you can even read a newspaper through them. The Arrow knife normally sells for $50, but order right now, I'll cut the price to $10. And for a limited time, you can double your order and get a second Arrow knife. Plus, you can also get the world-famous knife sharpener, the Edge of Glory, to keep your Arrow knives razor sharp. You can get it all, 2 Arrow knives and the Edge of Glory, for the incredible TV price of $10. When you order, find out about free shipping.
Call 1-800-680-9426. But hurry and get a special offer second Arrow knife and Edge of Glory knife sharpener with all of today's orders. But you must call now. 1-800-680-9426. That's 1-800-680-9426. Call now. 1-800-680-9426.
Wild is a busy place, and Jeremy Brandt's out to try every wild job we can throw at him, whether he likes it or not. Hey! Come to Nat Geo Wild and see what else wild is, and catch the new series Jobs That Bite. Starts Saturday on Nat Geo Wild.
He's awakened, I can feel it.
The Horseman returns.
The revolution's on its way back to us.
TV's craziest, mercilessly fun new show is